we are a swing state for control of Congress, but also for the White House. And we need to work together as a team. We can't be in a situation where we're divided.
And welcome back to Square Off. Those were Senator Mark Kelly's comments on the divided state of the Arizona Democratic Party after its new chairman ripped into Kelly, a Kelly staffer, and Senator Ruben Gallego in a shocking email to the party's top activists. The party's top 5 statewide elected officials, including Kelly and Gallego, responded that the party chair, Robert Branscombe, has lost their trust. Democrats in disarray has become a political cliche, but here in Arizona, it is real. Is the party now limping into the 2026 elections? Our politics panel steps in. Stacey Pearson, Democratic consultant with Lumen Strategies, and Chad Haywood, Republican consultant at Camelback Strategy Group. Welcome back. Real quick, any business consulting conflicts we need to know about before we talk about the topics today?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Let's keep on going. Stacey, basic question. Why do parties, Democrat or Republican, matter these days?
Well, the party has 2 jobs: raise money, register voters. Raise money, register voters, raise money, register voters. And the Democrats have been struggling on the registration of voters of late. So we're 100,000 short where we were in 2020. So I appreciate the new chair's commitment to transparency, but that's all that needed to be in that email. This is how many registered voters we have today. This is how many we're going to have tomorrow.
That email was nuts, wasn't it?
It was bonkers. It was so quintessentially Arizona. I mean, we had the Democratic Party turn on the last senior senator. We've got crazy emails going out about the current 2 senators and, in large part, all of the statewide Democrats. This is just what we do. I'm not proud, but it's in the water, it's the heat. I don't know what the answer is.
I think something more going on there. But how do you repair the damage?
So, I mean, the damage has already been done. The way you repair that is get back to the basics. You raise money, you register voters. You get your numbers back into a place where these races remain competitive and ensure we don't turn into a Florida.
Now, I last spoke to Robert Branscombe earlier in the week, the day the email came out. I asked him if he was resigning. He said, why? I've done nothing wrong. He was not at the Maricopa County dinner the other night. May have been told not to show up. Does he have to go?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I worked at a political party for 4 years, and there's always disagreements with different grassroots actors, elected officials, but you handle them privately. Maybe those blow into a state meeting once every year, but you never have situations where you're publicly attacking the elected officials and they're attacking back. The reality is you serve really at the pleasure of the party leaders, and they can turn the spigot on for fundraising and they can turn it off. And what's that old quote about Democrats that I'm not a member of an organized political party, I'm a Democrat? Right now, for any dysfunction or fighting Republicans are happening, we can just sit back and we can recognize it's worse than the Democratic Party right now, so we're going to be just fine.
And I'm sure many old-timers, not so old-timers, are remembering back to Senator John McCain, who was on the outs with the Arizona Republican Party. He was censured by the Arizona Republican Party. And he took his money to Yuma County.
He did. There's other options now, especially with super PACs. At the federal level, you have 2 senators that are incredible at raising money. The Democrats in the state, despite their differences, have always used the party vehicles very well. Republicans have had a lot more outside options. And so this is, I think, new in terms of what they're going to actually do with the vehicle of the party operation.
So is it just a behind-the-scenes thing, or is this actually going to have an impact on 2026?
Oh, Arizona remains competitive. We remain a swing state. We have to protect an incumbent governor. Where the money goes, to Chad's point, is really kind of irrelevant. I mean, I hope the La Paz County Democratic Party is ready for the work that's headed their way.
They have a bank account.
Get your bank accounts open and don't label the password file passwords, please. I guess that's what I was most proud that the Democrats didn't have a folder called passwords to give to the new leader. I was like, oh yay, look what we've done.
So yeah, that's the trick. Find a smaller party to work with.
Yeah,
that's the way.
It'll be fine. The money will still come.
And Mark Kelly is kind of the unofficial chairman, anyways. And that's
the senior senators always are.
That's kind of the way it goes. Let's move on. This next story does not come as a complete surprise, I am sure. But still, 4 months after telling Karen Taylor Robeson he would support her if she ran for governor, Donald Trump, surprise, has endorsed Andy Biggs as well, doubling down. Who are the winners? Who are the losers in all this, Chad?
Yeah, I think we're not surprised that there's a double endorsement. It's something he's done before. I think for both candidates now, knowing they have the confidence of Donald Trump, they can take that issue off the table and they can start talking about Arizona issues and start running a campaign directly to voters. And then they can make the case of who's better positioned to defeat Katie Hobbs and also to govern the state.
Is it off the table? Does Trump taking this off the table for those voters, or for Katie Hobbs? Is she the winner in this?
I think absolutely the governor's the winner in this, in that a Trump endorsement might very well be a liability in 550 days, more so than it is a benefit, even in a Republican primary. And so the governor comes out ahead on both of this, as those two candidates have been running to the right.
Yeah, one thing I'd add to that too, a Trump endorsement for both candidates still gives him a lot of options with, what do we have, 15 months until the primary?
16.
And puts it in perspective. Andy Biggs is still voting, and they have a 3-vote margin in the House. And so that's a nice endorsement you have there. Would you like to keep it? And so if you look at where his votes are going to fall, likely a pretty loyal vote for the president going forward, but we'll see.
We'll see. Want to end with the Capitol. Lawmakers wrapped up the DDD legislation, which I had mentioned earlier. They actually can do some hard things, it appears. We're heading into May. Is this the final month of the session, and what could it look like, Chad?
I'm going to be a complete pessimist because I'm not down there every day, and I just like teasing my colleagues that are. They still have Prop 123 funding extension. Education, it's a huge part of the budget. There's a deep divide between Governor Hobbs and the legislature on ESAs and other things, not necessarily Prop 123 related, but will get tied into that education issue, not to mention the Diamondback Stadium. So I think they might be around a while. Maybe they'll meet less frequently, and then the session goes into the summer. Executives always have the huge advantage of they have one job. A lot of these legislators, they're not full-time legislators. They don't have full-time salaries. It gets really hard for them negotiating into the summer. So I wish everybody well.
And we heard what Tom Galvin had to say about the D-back situation. Not very encouraging, seems to me. What's left on the table then?
Well, I'm hoping that we get a state hummingbird or maybe a state flavor of taco. I mean, we're really going to get down to the important stuff as the session starts to wrap up. But education's important. And truly, I wouldn't want to be in the governor's position right now, not knowing what the federal budget is going to do to the state and whether or not we're going to have, like the former governor said, whether or not we're going to kill people with Medicaid cuts.
And this is an interesting situation. They might have to, it's conceivable, they might come up with a budget, say, in May and have to come back in June, July, perhaps?
Exactly. And consumers are not spending as much as that certainly I think anyone had hoped they were going to be.
Yeah, revenue is a lagging indicator, right? And so there's a lot of talk about the economy. Usually you don't start to see slowdowns in the revenue until much later, and so they could come back.
All right.
I will say I'm going to be an optimist. They have gotten together on some of these other things recently, and there's been some great compromises. So
keep the hope alive, Chad. Keep the hope alive. Chad Haywood, Stacey Pearson, thanks so much for joining us. And 12 Plus is the streaming home of 12 News. You can see our Sunday Square Off coverage there. Download 12 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV devices now. That's our show for this week. Thanks very much to all of our guests. Thank you so much for joining us.